Okay.
You like
I feel like
Flashing light.
what is it, the choir? You know, when they do the choir and everyone matches, but doesn't, yeah, four of them around and everyone.
Coordinates, but doesn't like exactly
Yes,
match.
yes.
All right.
Everybody in here today.
I'd like to call this gathering of the choral envoys to order. Let the record reflect all members being present. I do not see members of the public. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion.
Oh, Councilmember Brown.
La, 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 la.
You're out of order. Got a judge here too. She can confirm it. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. We're gonna pause on the presentation from Ms. Fontaine because I'm not sure if she's here. They're on our way. We'll go through these real quick. I don't see the chief yet, so we're gonna move down to item E. Grant acceptance for Priority Health and National Fitness Campaign grant for an outdoor gym at Davis Park. Right,
So this would be our third of these. We have, our first one was at McGuire. We recently did one last year at Stabenow Park. And so this would be our third one. So you see in the resolution that there are some costs to us on this. So the grant itself from the National Fitness Campaign is for $50,000. We have the total cost of the equipment at $120,000. We're estimating around $40,000 to $50,000 for the concrete pad and then $20,000 for the concrete install. But this is to accept the $50,000 grant for the Priority Health Fitness Court, and this would be placed at Davis Park on the Pleasant Grove side and would create a visual for those driving on Pleasant Grove. The ones heading south would be able to see the wall. The ones heading north would be able to see the open part of the fitness court.
Mr. Internal Auditor, anything you want to add before we move on to questions?
No.
Okay. Questions from the committee?
The 70,000, you already kind of have that.
Yeah, that was part of the package in the millage with our budget. So there is fitness, it's under fit lot, but yeah, there is money already set aside for this project. Yes.
Just wanted to confirm. Thank you so much.
That, I'll need a, I'm sorry. With that, I'll need a motion to approve the resolution.
The motion to approve the resolution for grant acceptance of Priority Health National Fitness Campaign grant.
Motion, any further discussion? None, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item, we have a resolution grant acceptance for staffing for adequate fire and emergency response grant. This is the safer grant for hiring of additional firefighters. Ken, dear,
What compared to,
if you could introduce yourself too, I think this might be your first time for this.
I am Kenneth Lay. I'm the Assistant Fire Chief in charge of operations for the fire department.
Thank you very much. Why don't you tell us a little about what we're looking at?
We are in hopes of accepting the FEMA grant. It's a safer grant for additional firefighters. It's a $4.3 million grant over the next 3-year period. And there is no match to this grant, so it's a big plus for us. We'll be able to fulfill some of the spots that we have in, that's vacant now and our upcoming vacancies due to retirement.
Any questions? Our internal auditor, do you want to add anything before I move on?
No, I just congratulate you on obtaining this grant and employees coming up.
Is there not a resolution?
Is just a memo.
Oh.
Resolutions.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask that.
Yep, it should have been in there.
Is
You have it.
This is the one that
it in Laserfish?
Let me double check. I swear I looked at it when I,
It's in Laserfish. I'm comfortable approving it. Well, why don't we ask? We'll move on from that and ask questions. So if we have questions.
With the tree planting and maintenance, is the maintenance just the upkeeping of everything? The grant,
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Wait, this is wrong.
right, this is.
Funds will be used for
Part of
tree
it?
planting
Tree
and
planting
maintenance,
and
community
maintenance?
engagement, workforce.
Tree planting and maintenance. That is, yeah, I'm not,
Just part of the.
No, I think we used the form
Oh,
and
so are you seeing the form you filled out, Ken?
I'm seeing this now.
Yeah, at the bottom. That's what they're referring to.
That's not a part of, that should not be a part of this grant.
That's what I was like.
Seems like
That's,
I was
that's
like.
very plural.
Yeah, and then I'm. Okay, can you get back to our parents?
that's not. part of
Or I
the
think I
resolution.
do.
that,
Right, it's
We'll
not.
find out.
Okay, okay.
That's just an internal summary.
I tell you what, why don't we, is there a deadline on accepting this?
that I'm not sure, but I know we've been working on it for a while.
Okay, you applied in 20.
Yeah.
It starts, oh no, the grant period starts 3/2/2025.
I don't.
Um,
I'm emailing you two right now.
Can you email it to Renee?
What I'm gonna suggest, folks, is, because we don't have. Yeah, I'm gonna suggest that can I discharge this to committee of the whole?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we do that, and then committee of the whole, and you don't need to be there,
Okay.
but I will just go through and explain this.
I would say to be there if this was a discussion, but if.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, this is
Well,
not,
just,
this
yeah,
It's not a-
yeah, like, I'm gonna have, that's what.
this should not be a part of
All right, then I'm good with you not coming.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about the trees now.
Yeah.
We should not have.
If you could though, send an upgraded grant information form to Sherry,
I will.
with detail of how it's gonna be used, and then we'll just handle the committee of the whole, and I'll explain what happened. And you don't need to waste your Monday night with us, but I don't want to, because it's the end of the year, I don't want to delay this, you guys. are
Yeah.
working on it, so. We're gonna go ahead and just discharge this to Cal, and then, we'll have Cal handle it, on the 18th. Okay. Thank you for coming down and explaining that we are not spending $4 million to plant trees in fires.
No.
Right.
No, we're not doing that.
All right, good deal. Thanks for being here. We'll move on to the next item. All right, now we are going to hear from Anithya, how we're going to use firearms prohibition enforcement project to plant trees.
Sounds good. Anithia Brewer, your clerk of the court. Maybe we better start planting trees, Judge. We're taking on everything else.
Thank you.
First, I would like to thank Mr. Charles for reaching out yesterday, and it's nice to meet you. Thank you for assisting me with some things regarding this on yesterday. But what I want to share with the committee before I turn it over to Judge Ward is that you all are probably aware the last 15, 20 years, the roles of the courts have changed to deal with a lot of different societal issues that have come up. You know, we have specialty courts dealing with mental health, with alcohol abuse, drunk drivings, domestic violence, things of that nature. And we always are looking for ways to enhance the work that we can do in our community and working with our citizens. And Judge Ward happens to be a part of a committee, a team, where a new initiative has come out, and that she approached me about. And I'm like, why wouldn't we not do this? It is also a grant that is not going to have a match that attaches to it. But I want you all to hear a little bit more about how this all came about, what we're looking to do, and Judge Ward's going to share some of that.
Judge Ward, I want to thank you for always making time for our committees. I know you're very busy, so I appreciate you being up here.
Thank you. I appreciate you getting this on the agenda. I've been very fortunate in my first term on the bench to have been approached by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services twice now when they said, we have resources and we want you to be a part of it. So we have been having discussions. And when I say we, the police department, the prosecutor's office and victims advocates and I have been having discussions about this firearm prohibition project. There's the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services advised us that there was money available, and Lansing was selected as one of two sites in the state of Michigan to essentially be a demonstration project. Muskegon is the other site. And we have been meeting for months and no one was really taking the lead on moving this project forward. And I felt very strongly that I didn't want this money to leave our community. So I went to Ms. Brewer and our chief judge and said, can we be the fiduciary for this grant, take the lead? I understand that LPD is going to have a significant role because we're not going to take on firearms. And LPD said, we can't take the lead, but we are prepared to support. So I spoke to the prosecutor's office, I spoke to the victim's advocate, and we all agreed that the court would take the lead, essentially because it would be the court's orders that would be enforced. We're in a very fortunate position to have a $550,000 grant over 3 years with no match, where the first year can be spent on planning. We have no idea what it is that we're going to do, yet the funders are not expecting necessarily deliverables. They really want us to determine, so we will be hiring a project coordinator to determine what our firearm project would look like. And just to give you just a quick background, in every domestic violence case, nearly every one, we order a no contact order. There are some exceptions. And in nearly everyone, we also order that they're not to purchase or possess any firearms. Once we make that order at the time of the arraignment, there really isn't any meaningful way for us to know whether they dispossessed themselves of those firearms. Unfortunately, we have learned that they haven't. So we want to have a project in place where we can look at all of our domestic cases, our stalking cases, and our sexual assault cases, where there has been a prohibition of firearms, and figure out a way where we can meaningfully, as a court, enforce that order that we have imposed to keep our community safe. And that is the goal of this project.
Goes nicely with our Office of Neighborhood Safety development. And I was going to ask the question, Charles, I see it's a $500,000 grant. Is that it's 550 in total for
Over
3
3
years?
over 3 years, yes. So they asked for a rough budget. So my hope and prayer is that we can have retired LPD being real, because it's going to have to be someone who knows the ins and outs of LPDs and what their capacity, et cetera. And so I just came up with a rough budget. And this is, yeah.
Well, this is the match, what you're saying, you want to make sure all of it is true. 500 or 550. It's in the resolution says 500,000.
Okay, yeah.
That's what I understood was 550, but it's 500. 550.
So-
Okay.
The resolution in the now therefore be it resolved for this fiscal, it's 127,555. It's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Your Honor. It would be the 127,555. That's the non-budgeted amount for this fiscal. And then the future amounts would be allocated as part of the court's budget in future years.
A lot of words there. I'm not sure what you were asking. All I can say is MDH, I'm told that the money that's allocated for Lansing is $550,000 over 3 years. They asked for a rough budget proposal so that they can send something to contract. You will note that there are 2 items that I have reserved, so there could be a budget amendment. So I'm a little uncomfortable if the resolution says whatever the resolution says, if we have an amendment, would that mean I would have to come back and?
Can we amend, therefore they resolve, that city council approved acceptance of funding up to $550,000? Or does it have to be the specific amount of money we know we're receiving?
Generally, I believe it needs to be a specific amount because it's essentially a budget allocation.
But we know we've been awarded $550,000, right? Your Honor?
Charlie?
We know we've been awarded $550,000.
We know that I have $550,000 available over 3 years, and it's whatever. So for the first year, I'm asking for 127. I reserved, some areas, but then once we have a project, it'll probably be a different amount because I would imagine LPD will need specific equipment or things like that for storage and things like that. So, but we know it can't exceed $550,000, and just this is your area. But for my DV court grant, for example, that budget changes every year. You've approved the grant for the period of the grant. For a period, I think it was like 4 years or whatever it was. So it wasn't like we had to come every year when
Yeah,
we did
just
it.
we don't have a grant award letter that says $550,000. Right?
Oh, no. Now I just have the notes from our meeting. Wait, let me look at this.
Are you able to get that from them?
I mean, I can ask them.
I would allow us to have that in writing and then based on.
I understand there's a contracting, the state of Michigan is in the contracting phase of this. It actually.
It's like a chicken and egg thing, right?
Contract, yeah.
And the contract, right, the contract will only be for the budget that I submitted for this year.
So that's why I don't think we can do the
And the
whole.
budget submitted this year was 127,550.
Yes.
Okay.
But then when we do our next budget submission for your annual budget, this can be something that is budgeted into that. So it's not a supplemental appropriation. It's something that
Yeah.
you work into your budget, so you don't have to come back to council and do the next round, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
What you're talking about.
I understand. As long as the couple people at this table do, we're good. Okay, well then let's go ahead and approve the resolution for 127.
So I have equipment, unknown at this time, reserved for budget amendment, and subcontractors, unknown at this time, reserved for budget amendment. That may mean that there might be an increase once a person's in place and working on things. Is that a problem with having this?
If you have to do a budget amendment, it'll go through the budget amendment process anyway. Right.
But we would have to do a budget, when I meant a budget amendment, we would have to ask MDHHS for more money.
And if you give our money, we'd have to approve.
It would, yeah, it could work again as like a grant, a supplemental grant acceptance, just the way that this is
What
working.
Lisa, I think, was articulating is if you get the money again next year and we've already approved expenditure, we can put it in the normal budget. But if you get more money before the normal budget cycle, we have to approve the acceptance of another round of money. To make it worth your while. Almost like 100,000.
Question, aside from the dollar figures, when you say the retired, you're hoping to use retired LPD because they have some previous knowledge, will they also be trained in this specific area of the treaters of domestic violence, sexual assault, and stalking? Is there another layer of training for that, or?
They probably know it, right? So, but I mean, really, it's important that, when you think of a project coordinator, I felt that it was important that there are so many complexities that comes to firearm relinquishment, et cetera. And when we're talking about our law enforcement being involved, I just thought maybe have someone to be able to hit the ground running, someone who understands all of that, and I'm gonna have to get them up to speed where they have to meet with this department and this person in LPD to get the lay of the land, because they would essentially already know it. Yeah, but I mean, I don't even know if there are any retired LPD who would even be interested, right? They may say, well, it's associated with Judge Ward, we don't want any part of it. No, but.
You have to search out and see.
Yes, that's where I'm gonna. I'll lean on Chief Baxis for that, but yeah, I think our LPD, they know the dynamics of domestic violence, et cetera, because they're the ones who are informing the court as it is about some of the issues that really underscore the need for this.
Any questions? All right, now I need a motion to approve the grant acceptance as articulated in the resolution.
I make a motion to approve the grant acceptance firearm prohibition enforcement project as is.
Any further questions? All right, well, thank you for taking the initiative. I remember you came to me and mentioned something like this. I'm glad it's taking shape.
Yes.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Sure.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Yeah. Lisa, we're gonna just keep moving along here. If you wouldn't mind going over the resolution for the workers' comp.
Yes, absolutely. This is a workers' compensation settlement. The resolution indicates that it's for $101,134.30. The claimant will not return to work. They have retired from the city. They're on a duty disability retirement. Therefore, they were not offered another job in any other department. They have already been approved for duty disability retirement, and so they are collecting that from the city. This is a full and final complete redemption, and closes out the file.
We all have been here for a year now. This committee for a year. Those are standard questions that Councilmember Wood has been asking for years, and they do not violate the confidentiality of these claims. If you have any other further questions beyond that,
I have two more. Retirement?
Duty disability retirement.
Well, the question was, or are they collecting retirement benefits?
They're collecting duty disability retirement.
Okay, because those were two separate questions before, and then they have other claims.
This is a full and final of all.
Okay.
questions? I made a motion to approve the resolution. Adopted.
I make a motion to approve the resolution for the workers' compensation fund.
All right, proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, so the motion carries. Go back to item C, which we will invite Chief Backus up to talk about the M. Coles Community Policing Grant. Chief, thank you for being here today.
Thank you, sir, and I apologize for,
I understood it was a scheduling error.
yeah, there was a scheduling error.
No worries, we made it work.
So the first grant that I want to talk about is the MCOLS Standards Grant. This is a grant that's through the state of Michigan and is being operated through MCOLS. The start date on this is October 1st of 2024, and it runs through September 30th of 2026. We did apply for this grant and received a $500,472 award. There is no local match. The projects that are being funded through this amount, first, there's a project that is it's a polling and crime, community crime reduction effort through a company called Zen City. It's something that we already use and have used for 2 years. This will fund this for another 2 years. And then the second funding effort through this is to pay for the programmatic efforts and staffing for the Lansing 360 effort through the Lansing Empowerment Network. And again, that will fund their programming for 2 years.
There's no plan issue here, or we can use these funds to pay for things we've been doing, right?
None of these funds can actually be used to pay for any police officer overtime or salaries. So this is all, and the grant is focused on community efforts.
Perhaps my question wasn't clear. So you said we've been using Zen City for 2 years, and we've already been supporting Lansing 360s. There's no prohibition on using this grant to pay for things we've already been doing with our own money.
Correct. So the last 2 years we paid for it through ARPA funds.
Okay.
So this grant will allow us to continue it for 2 years.
Excellent. Other questions from the
No, this looks like a wonderful grant opportunity with organizations that are truly making a direct impact. So thank you so much for your efforts, and we look forward to seeing the result-driven outcomes in the community.
All right. Chief, you missed a memo. It's Green Day in the committee, so.
Yes.
I need a resolution or a motion to approve the resolution.
I make the motion to approve the resolution for the acceptance for Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards.
Okay, proper motion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next item is again with our chief and his grant. Highway safety planning for message signs. Chief.
Thank you. This is actually for more than just message signs. So this is our grant that's been offered to us annually for traffic enforcement as well. So this grant is in the amount of $330,779.52. So it is a formula grant. This grant is going to fund up to 900 hours of preventive officer efforts that focus on hazardous driving and roadside deaths, non-motorized safety. So there is some bicycle safety efforts that they do as well. And then there's also a component of this that deals with distracted driving. One of the other things that is funded through this grant is equipment, and we were approved for the purchase of 2 more speed alert and message signs. So I think that some of you have gotten some of the information in the past where we've set up the signs and it's told us what the average speeds are, and it kind of breaks it down as to who's going 5 miles an hour or less, or who's going 15 miles an hour over, and then we can give you that data and you can share that with your constituents. So this grant funds not only the traffic enforcement, but the purchase of 2 more of those smart traffic signs.
bulk of it is traffic enforcement.
Yes.
Kind of items would be used for the distracted driving.
The distracted driving would be like texting and driving,
Right.
so it's correct.
Oh, okay.
What's that?
Overtime and.
Yep, it's just overtime for officers to do the traffic enforcement, and then the equipment is the 2 safety signs.
You don't know the answer, I understand. How many of those signs do we have in the city right now?
We only have one of the other smart traffic
Oh.
signs, and then we have, I want to say we have 2 or 4 of the ones that just show what your speed is. Now, the ones that we have attached to the signs that are really, I think we have over 30 of those, but they're not connected to Wi-Fi, so we have to take those down and digitally download those. So we don't necessarily get a lot of information out of them. They're really easy to throw up there, and I think people can see, when you put them right below the sign, it's really easy for people to see what their speed is. Do that too.
Right, any other questions or comments? Mine are no longer germane, so I need a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution for the Grand Central Office of Highway Safety and Planning Grants.
That is a proper motion. Almost, any further questions? See that? Thank you, Chief, for being here. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much, Chief. The next item on our agenda, we are going to hear from Delisa. Delisa, thank you for being here. As the committee knows, one of the things we did was we funded an Office of Neighborhood Safety. And I had a chance to speak with the director a few weeks back, and she was very excited about some of the progress that had been made. So I asked her just to come give us a quick update on the efforts so far and what we can expect in the future. So the floor is yours.
So first off, I please accept my apologies. It's been a wild month or so for me. And so I somehow did not add this to my calendar. And so I was randomly here picking up mail and I got Sherry's email. So thank you for that. I ran in kind of hectic.
This is the committee, no one wants to come here. The chief didn't want to be here. That's fine.
And I would have wore green too, so. But I do apologize for that. I wanted to, when I spoke with you was back in October, I believe. I wanted to have a whole written update and presentation, but of course things happened within my family, so I don't have that. So I just have a verbal update for you.
I would be opposed to just a quick with having her come back, because I was very interested in her full presentation, so I'm okay with another opportunity.
Sure. Well, I'll ask Ms. Fontaine, would you rather do a quick update now, or would you rather maybe send us the written one and then see if we don't have any more meetings this month for this year. Well, I'm not going to talk. Maybe that.
I just,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be opposed to January, because I know you like it.
Well, I think if you want to if you want to give us a quick and dirty right now, that would be great.
I could definitely give you a quick and dirty right now, because as far as internal movement, I'm currently working with HR to create the job description.
Yep.
The job title will be it'll be the Office of Neighborhood Safety Program Coordinator. So I will not be hiring another director or hiring a manager, but more so a program coordinator who will be working directly with community-based organizations and sort of the liaison between the city and community-based organizations who are doing violence prevention and intervention work, as well as incorporating neighborhood work into things, as well as coordinating with LPD. And so this will be our main person who'll be the coordinator for all those things. After attending the National Office of Violence Prevention conference at a Midwest convening and meeting with other cities who have done this same type of office stand-up, I'm very confident that we'll get someone who is able to bring all of those resources together, as well as someone who is efficient in grant writing and can work with our grant writers here in the city and bring in revenues and funding for the office.
Great. I have two comments. It's very great to hear. One is, I think, I know the HR process is slow, so the sooner we can get this in, the better, because I know the mayor's budget recommendations will start to formulate, and if that's not in the budget, the funding from the state did not come through. So we need to make sure it's locked in as a position. I don't question the mayor's commitment to this office, but I do know that the money we were relying on at the state level has not yet been approved. There's that, and then the second piece is, I think there's a lot of room for synergies here. We just had Judge Ward here talking about another program coordinator in relationship to domestic violence and weapons. And I think there's a lot of work that can be done, and I think this is a great convening for all of those things. And the chief was just talking about continuing our support of IC 360. It goes beyond gun violence, obviously, but I think it's a really good time to start to have someone hit the ground running at the first of the year and close to the first of the year and start the support work. So I know you've been diligent on this, that's why I was excited to bring you in. If you do, we'll have time for questions, obviously. If you wouldn't mind, when you have a spare moment, I know it's been hectic and it's close of the year, to send whatever written information you thought you were going to share with us to Sherry, and she can give it up to the committee.
Absolutely.
And we can share with the rest of the council, and then maybe in 2025, when we have a little further along in the HR process and stuff, perhaps you'll have a person to work with you to share with.
Which would be fun, then I can introduce the person.
Yes,
and take off
exactly.
with everything, yeah.
Grand reveals.
I'm quite excited about it, right? Because it's reimagining how the city of Lansing looks at its public safety portfolio as a whole. And aligning with other cities in the state of Michigan, aligning with other cities throughout the country. And I'm really excited about it. I just don't want to make the wrong move with it,
No, I
right?
hear you. And I think it's great to see, I mean, we've got 3 branches of government that are here today, all talking about gun violence, domestic violence. And it's nice to see that synchronization and also sort of working in concert.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, thank you for zigging when we thought you were zagging today. I appreciate that. We certainly understand.
Thank
But, you know, extensive police anyway, but. So, any questions from the group?
No, you actually touched on mine, so we're good.
Excellent. Well, I won't see you again for the rest of the year. Happy holidays and enjoy the winter break. And
Happy holidays.
that's all this group's got. I do want to thank this committee for always coming prepared to do the work and asking important questions, having a little fun along the way, and obviously getting the memo on dress code. So at 3:32, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It happened.
Well,